Good morning, Oracles. Well, early this morning we got news about the annual shareholder meeting coming on August 4th for Tesla. So this is great news. We did not get the proxy yesterday, which is basically what we would have gotten for information from that. So this is great. We didn't get the proxy, but we do know when the annual meeting is going to be. Now at this annual meeting, this is where we are going to be voting on the allowance for more shares in order to enable a split. What the amount is going to be, what the ratio is going to be, we don't know. We'll probably find out at that point, but even with that number of shares, that does not mean that's what they are going to do for a split. So between now and then, there's some things that we'll go over in a moment for timeline and catalysts, but it looks like we will have that vote coming on August 4th. So when you look back to 2020, when they announced the split then, they announced it on August 11th, and then anybody who had shares as of August 21st, those shares were going to be split on August 28th after market close. So that on the beginning of August 31st, they were all trading at a split adjusted basis. So this time around, we'll have the annual meeting on the 4th. We will get to vote on the shares at that point. And then, who knows what's going to happen after that. It could happen a week, 2 weeks after that they do announce the split. But, just seeing as the one time they did the split in the past, it happened relatively quickly. Within 3 weeks, that split took place. So, we'll see it. That could totally play out, and we might end up getting the split maybe early September. I know Omar over at Holmars had mentioned that, we were all talking back in December, 12/9 was the date for a split. Maybe it's going to be 9/12. That is the irony that Elon does like to play with. So perhaps that is the situation going on now. Either way, I think after the annual meeting, we will get it very soon. So I do feel that we will be getting this split end of August, early September. And now last time we got the split, we had a massive run up into the stock. Things were a little bit different back then. The macro environment was totally different. The Fed had just dropped rates to nearly zero, so the stock market just completely screamed up. Every growth stock took off entirely, and at that time, Tesla still wasn't profitable, so they were able to skyrocket along with all the other growth stocks, which just made it even higher for the stock split. So this time around, I think we are still going to get that run up, but we do have the macro environment holding us down a little bit. So we won't probably run the same way we ran last time, but we'll still get that run up into the split. And so now between now and then, we've got a lot of catalysts. So we're gonna have some ups and downs, and I still think this is great because we'll have at least one more down cycle, which will allow us to add more shares prior to this split. So we've got the FOMC meeting happening over the next 2 days. That is going to determine how many basis points they're going to raise rates now, and they will give us insights as to what they potentially could raise rates in June on the 15th at the next FOMC meeting. We've got CPI data coming out on May 11th, and then again on June 10th. We should be getting Shanghai delivery numbers this week, I would think. I heard something about 10,000 vehicles delivered, nothing official that I have seen yet. And we still don't know much about Berlin and Austin. We actually know more about Berlin than Austin. Berlin was looking for 1,000 vehicles per week production at the end of last month. So that would have ended on Friday. So if they hit that or not, we do not know. Austin, I would imagine, is probably ramping at around the same pace. So still waiting on numbers for that. I don't know if we'll get the numbers out of those factories like we do out of Shanghai, but we'll find out. Trip Chowdhury is saying that Fremont is producing 10 to 20% over capacity. Whether that's actually true or not, I don't know what metrics he's using to determine this, but that would be awesome news to offset the downtime that we have in Shanghai. And a big market catalyst day that we have also coming on May 9th is going to be Victory Day over in Russia. This is where Russia is going to be declaring their victory over Ukraine. So who knows what's going to happen, but that could be leading to some uncertainty and pensive moments in the market, and those usually lead to red days. So we'll see what happens, especially since 2 days after that, we will be getting the CPI data. So next week could be a little rocky again as well. But if the CPI data comes in well and Victory Day doesn't turn out to be anything more than just, another day like we've been seeing in the Russia-Ukraine war, we could see a bit of a rally after that CPI data, because that'll kind of give us idea as to what the FOMC meeting in June is going to hold. From there on, we've got July, early July, we should be getting the Q2 delivery and production numbers. Elon said they will probably be flat or just down quarter over quarter, but judging by some of the numbers and stats that we've been hearing, they might actually beat. We might get a surprise beat that comes out in Q2, which would just lead to a higher potential for production and deliveries in Q3 and Q4, since Q2 has been the most challenging so far. So that will be significant that we get on July 2nd. Sometime around then, I would imagine we are also going to be getting Master Plan Part 3. So looking at the timing of things going into this split, if we've got the next FOMC meeting after this one, the next couple of days is happening on June 15th, we could see a bit of a run. There is an FOMC meeting in July. So running through that, July 27th, we will probably be getting the Q2 earnings. So from July 27th, then we're going to have August 4th as the annual meeting. We'll get the annual meeting. There's going to be a lot of positive catalysts happening between the end of June and the beginning of August. And then going into the split could be going to the beginning of September. So we have a good solid 2 months we can see a lot of positive catalyst run happening in Tesla stock. And this just goes back to support my theory that we are going to see a very nice summer rally coming through all of this. So again, then after the split happens, and then we're going to have, the midterm elections. Back in 2020, we had the elections happen at that time. So we saw a pullback and then an inclusion into the S&P, which then skyrocketed the stock some more. This time around, post-split, we may actually see them get included into the Dow. So we, again, and I've said this before, we might see a very similar pattern to what we saw in 2020 between a stock split, election time, inclusion into an S&P or the Dow fund this time, and then skyrocket into the end of the year. So between now and August 4th, my whole plan is going to be adding more shares. I've got just over 8 right now. I am trying to get myself to at least 10 before we split. I think I will have plenty of time to make that happen. So I'll just be focusing on that and paying attention to any dips we get. So for those of you who don't know, I add $15 to Tesla every single day through my SoFi account fractionally. And then every time we dip a little bit further down, I will add 15 more dollars. If for some freak reason we do end up dropping under $800, I'll add $20 for every percent that we drop. And the more we drop, the more I will add, because every time you add with a dollar amount, that means more shares coming to you. So conversely, like when you're buying shares, if you're buying full shares and you're paying a lower price, when you pay high dollar amounts with lower value, you get more shares. So that's how I work it with my dollars. Let me know in the comments below, how long after the annual meeting do you think it's going to take before they announce the split and before they actually do the split? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. Thank you so much. Have a great one.